Hey everyone, welcome to another sleepy vlog or just a haul video. Um, I don't know why I obsess about in my head there's something special about sleepy vlogs, but every video I make is part of the ongoing video diary of my comic book thoughts and collecting experiences and whatever else I want to chat about. Um, but anyway, I guess trying to figure out what I'm doing is becoming more prominent in my mind because for some reason I am making a podcast with Matt Wednesday Serial. He and I have started a podcast called Never Stay Dead, joking, I guess, about how the comic book characters always come back to life. Our first episode is kind of up. It's not been accepted by iTunes yet. It's in the submission process. So you can't subscribe to this on iTunes yet. There's a website that our podcast host has made for us, so you can follow our website, or you can get the Podbean app, and it's available on the Podbean app on your phone. And eventually it'll be available on iTunes, and hopefully I'll figure out how to upload episodes to YouTube also. Have the audio up on YouTube. Why am I doing this? Well, one, because Matt was really eager to do it. He's been doing YouTube a long time and I guess is a little iffy about it at this point and wants to try other ways of talking about comics. He has another podcast just about Spider-Man oddities. And I'll find that and link to it below. I can't even remember right now the name of the podcast. I guess I can look it up quickly here. And I can kind of see his point because the YouTube thing keeps changing. What it means to be part of the comic book community keeps changing. I have a feeling some people from the outside now, when they hear comic book YouTube community, are going to think the anti-SJW movement and the direct targeting of specific people in the comics professional world, which the comics community that I'm a part of or that have always attracted to me was nothing like that. That was kind of the ideal of the comic book community for me is everybody with their own opinions, their own approaches to comics and all of that. And whether or not the the anti-Marvel SJW people are right or not, I think they might be right on, personally, about on 15% of the things they talk about. But they form this block of people who all have one goal and one purpose in life, it seems, which is to rip on these comic book creators. And it just makes me wonder, as things evolve, do I want other avenues for chatting with things? But mostly it's because I enjoy chatting with Matt. We have a long-running history now of a friendship. We mostly chat in text places, not in public. I enjoy public conversation. So this is just another way to do it. But it's a big hassle. Why can't I find Matt's other... This is stupid. Let me try again. Shows. So anyway, it's a big hassle. I've just spent a lot of time on the Podbean website trying to figure things out. His thing is called the Untold Tales of Spider-Man, and it's part of a larger network of podcasts about Spider-Man. I don't know what the purpose of these larger networks is either. But anyway, so you can check all that stuff out. Meanwhile, I have made less videos than is my norm. Probably doesn't feel like I've been gone that long. I think my last video might be 2 weeks ago. But I've had time to spend money more than I have had time to read comics, which is kind of absurd. But the internet makes it so easy to buy things. I have some things coming in from eBay soon. But I also have done a whole bunch of in-stock trade hauls. Uh, so I thought I'd show you some of the stuff I got. The Motor Girl Omnibus. It's kind of funny because it's such a short book. It's just all the Motor Girl was intended to be a short-lived thing. So I got the first few issues of this and felt like I would enjoy it more in a collection. And it kind of bothered me that for $3.99 in a black and white comic, there would usually be like 17 or 18 pages of actual story in Motor Girl. And I'm a little, it's got a really nice cover. I really appreciate that it's not a dust jacket, but it's printed on the cover. I don't know why, but I love these ribbon things. But this is a black and white book that's 224 pages long, and it costs $40 list price. I paid less than that, but still. And the binding appears to be glued. So back to my bugaboo. I mean, I thought when I get a hardback book from Terry Moore of one of his beloved comics, it would have great binding. Still readable, and it's not like The Gutter Loss is serious because this is not done with the kind of full bleed kind of artwork. But still, look at that. You want more of a space there. Why not? And I don't know. He's cutting corners. He's definitely cutting corners. The paper quality's good. Then I've been continuing to go Omnibus crazy. I think I showed you... Did I show you my Commandy Omnibus? I think so. And before that, I got the New Gods Omnibus. And now I thought, well, while I'm at it, because I know I'll eventually want this, just get the stuff I want now in case it goes out of print. I got the Bronze Age Swamp Thing Omnibus, which is basically all the Swamp Thing leading up to Alan Moore, because it includes the saga of the Swamp Thing, which was the second Swamp. And here's a beautiful, great binding. So if there were full page bleeds, we would have had no gutter loss here. So what we get is all the Bernie Wrightston, all the Len Wein, and then the continuation done by other artists and other writers. Nestor Redondo, who I think is, because he followed Bernie Wrightston, is a very underappreciated artist. It doesn't have as much of the moodiness from Nestor Redondo, but it does look really cool. But then it continues on, so we get the as I said, the saga of the Swamp Thing, which came later, which was revived because of the major motion picture starring Adrienne Barbeau. That's all I really remember about it. I think they did 2 Swamp Thing movies. And I think the second one was better because it was done to be funny. That's my memory of it, but I haven't seen it in a really long time. So I assume that we can expect an Alan Moore omnibus, or several volumes of Alan Moore omnibuses, which I would like to get. So this even, I had forgotten that people like Bissett and Veitch were already working on the Swamp Thing before Alan Moore showed up. So there's some great artwork there from the later pieces, with very dynamic layouts that we kind of come to expect from them. Those guys were the masters of horror. I think I particularly liked Bissett. Let's see who's credited on this. Where's the credits? Pardon me. I guess this is a vlog because I'm taking my time. Yeah, this artwork that I'm admiring is by Stephen Bissett and John Totalbein. A great team. Len Wein was the editor, which is kind of ironic. Also notable, Tatjana Wood as the colorist. I remember her as, with the limited coloring available to them back then, one of the best colorists around. So I love having things in hardback. I love them being slightly oversized. Let's see, compared to a comic book. These aren't that much bigger. Wow, I don't even remember buying this comic book. Oh, this is one I bought at the convention. But So these omnibuses are slightly bigger. I would like them even. I wish they were even bigger, but still, it's good the bigger the see the comic book art, especially when you're wanting to take in some Wrightston beauty. It's great to have the original issues, of course, but it's also great to just enjoy the artwork this way. Then I got Adam Strange, which I believe is going to be I haven't even taken out of the plastic. I believe this is going to be, I have scissors somewhere here. Here they are. I believe this is going to be mostly Carmine Infantino art. I did not love Carmine Infantino in the 70s, but his 60s work, 50s and 60s work, I think is well worth that. He has a great reputation as in comic book art history. Let's see. DC does a crap job on what they call their deluxe editions, but their omnibuses, they usually do a great job. I'm talking about the binding and the quality of things. It really, on a big book, I mean, I can live with it on that Motor Girl, but on a big book, you really got to have good binding. So the irony being that these kind of things without the full page bleed don't. I still want the great binding, but it's the modern stuff that screams for needing good binding so that you can really take in the art well. Yeah, so I'm real excited about this. I'm a huge science fiction fan. I love all things science fiction inside and out of comics. But science fiction, Silver Age science fiction has a particular appeal to me. I'm looking at the table of contents here. I see a lot of Carmine Infantino with inker Murphy Anderson. And you can't go wrong when you're inked by Murphy Anderson, that's for sure. Joe Gila inks, Bernard Sachs, I don't know him. There's some Mike Sikowski in there. He's a little harder for me to swallow as an artist, but there's not a lot. Lee Elias, Dave Wood, but mostly Carmine Infantino. A lot of writing by Gardner Fox, who definitely was one of the masterminds, so to speak, behind giving DC Comics a very strong science fiction feel. So I'm super excited to have all of these. I probably own some of them already. You can buy them pretty cheaply, but still, like I said, I love having things in the omnibus format. I haven't slowed down in my other comic book buying, but I definitely speeded up in the omnibus buying, and I wonder if slowly I will say, I don't need to have the original floppies anymore, and start shedding those. So here, the latest thing I got from InStock Trade, I haven't opened it out of the InStock Trade's bag yet. There is a grand finale here. There's my biggest purchase, maybe ever, on a single object in comics is coming up. Because I don't think I've ever spent more than, I'm just guessing, I've once or twice spent $30 to $60 on a back issue, but mostly I just don't spend a lot of money on individual things. But so that's to come later in this video. But I got the volume 1 of Department H. Since watching YouTube and hearing more Brits, I liked the sound of H instead of H. Let's see how's the bind. Ooh, you can hear it crack open in a brand new book. So I gotta loosen the binding. This is not up to that omnibus kind of binding, but there is that gap there, which shows that it's not just glued binding. It's a bit tight. Ooh, I love the feel of this paper and the look of it, the look of the color on this kind of paper. That's really special. Colors are beautiful here. Yeah. I think I can loosen up this binding and it will be better. But so I'm kind of excited to read this. Kind of, I've held back. I didn't get it in the individual issues, partially because I have got Mind Management in these really nice hardbacks too. And I trusted that Dark Horse would end up publishing this in nice hardbacks. But also, I've heard this is kind of a closed room mystery, and that's not one of my favorite genres. But obviously, it's science fiction too, and underwater adventure. So hopefully, I will enjoy it a lot. But I will read the first volume before I buy all the other volumes. But I better hurry up and read it, right? What if it goes out of print? That's the great fear. I had ordered some Steve Ditko archive editions that DC put out, but of his, not Fawcett work, his Charlton work, his Charlton superhero work. And then DCBS told me and said that one of the volumes, volume 2, which was the volume I really wanted the most, they didn't have. They were out of stock, so they had to give me something else. And I chose something else I want, and that's coming soon. But then it's like, oh yeah, wow. I've been watching that a long time on in-stock trades and finally decided to pull the trigger because I was afraid it would, the supplies would end. So I went on Amazon and got what they claimed. I don't always trust Amazon when they say that. They said it was their last copy or their last copy in stock. But in-stock trade said they didn't know if they'd get any more copies. So I thought I better get this thing from Amazon. So I ordered that volume 2 of Ditko's Charlton Heroes. So that should be coming in the mail soon. Things come very fast from Amazon, of course, as you know. So another one I've been watching a long time. I own all the issues of this somewhere, but this was my favorite of the original Valiant comics back in the 90s. One of the highlights of the early 90s for me, when a lot of stuff I didn't love. So I thought, I better get this Omnibus edition. And actually, yeah. And so there's what it looks like inside. But I just glanced in and I'm already a little disappointed. Because although the book itself is oversized, I think the pages are reprinted at their original size on the inside. Why would they do that? I don't get that. Is that laziness? Are they tricking people? They didn't want to do whatever it takes to go through and upsize all the digital files. So instead they put it on a big size. And I don't know. I guess this is still, it looks kind of cool with this black. The binding isn't as good as the DC omnibuses. Let's see. At a glance. I think it is sewn binding, but it doesn't have the same kind of give, same kind of flex. Maybe that will loosen a bit. So these were written and drawn by Barry Windsor Smith until he left the series. And it turns out, as a writer, he's really good at comedy. He's not so... He's okay at straight drama, but he's really good at comedy, which is surprising. This was the early days of digital coloring, I think. Very early days. Anyway, I'm still glad to have it, but I'm a touch disappointed. Later on, Mike Vosberg was the artist, and he's just kind of an okay artist for me. I can't remember who took over the writing chores. Mike Barron did the writing. Oh, that's slightly promising. Bob Layton, editor-in-chief. Yeah, that compared to Barry Windsor Smith is kind of a disappointment. That's always the thing with the really great artists. When they go, it hurts. Anyway, well, you win some, you lose some. That's not a total loss, but it's a bit of a disappointment. Okay, now this next stuff I have not looked at all, because I haven't. And so I subscribe to getting an email from not Mike Rood, Steve Rood, Mike Barron being the writer, and I have bought a lot of his sketchbooks and things over the years, and there was a 50% off sale on everything on his website. I think now maybe he does that 50% off sale a lot. I'm hoping he does another one soon, actually, because I've kind of got the bug to buy some stuff. But smaller things I ordered from him include these sketchbooks, which I think were already not very expensive, like $10 or $15 a piece. I'm not sure what I paid for them, but I got them 50% off during the sale. And I have some and really like them, and I thought, and some of them now he only sells digital copies. He sold out all the physical copies. So these ones I didn't get before because rather than Sketchbook 2007, it's called Commissions 2007. So these are all his commissions that he did in 2007, I guess. Wow, they look good. So really glad to have these. This one I think is the cover of one of his other sketchbooks. It's funny though, I think this cover that he put on here of Dracula is one of his less successful pieces. So there's a nice black canary with rabbits. I don't quite get that. Why is Black Canary jumping around with rabbits? Oh wow, look at that. Look at that Namor. I love Steve Rood art. It hits the spot for me of simplicity and grace and storytelling. If you've been watching this channel for 6 years, you know that already. But I don't know if I've talked much about Steve Rood lately. And he did an issue of the Commandy Challenge. He's been doing a lot of issues of the the stuff with Space Ghost and all those other Hanna-Barbera characters, the Future Quest kind of thing. Future Quest Presents, I think they call it. I've been getting those issues, but I haven't read them yet. Yeah, there's some Prime stuff. Maybe I should get a commission from him, but that is no doubt expensive. So I also got this print, which is a really nice looking Nexus painting. I assume this was a cover of a Nexus issue. I can't remember it, but it looks like one of those covers. Steve Rood also does a lot of painting of babes in bikinis and stuff like that I don't like, but I do love his painting style when he's doing superheroes. If I were him, I would be doing lots of covers for other people's comics because they really pop. Oh, that's kind of thin paper. Okay, it came backed with a cardboard. But all of this stuff was very inexpensive, especially with the 50% off sale. But then there was a huge thing because the other thing he sells on his website is original art. And the cheapest pages are $7.50. So I got one of the cheapest pages, 50% off from that $7.50. Now so I haven't looked at it. It is from the Commandy Challenge, number 8, I think, which was the issue that Steve Rood drew. So even though this is a very minor page to cost because the really cool pages are $1,500 or even more. But maybe the knowledgeable people will only buy them when they're 50% off. But even then, that's a lot of money. But this is momentous because it's the first page of a published comic of original art. I bought a few sketches, some paintings from Sean Riaz, but but I have not ever owned a page of comic book art. And I can't get it out. Okay. Guess it's not going to work that way. It looks like it's not too large inside here. I guess I should have pre-opened this, but I wanted to not see it till I was talking with you. It looks like it's taped to one of these pieces of cardboard. This is probably a really bad thing because I've resisted. You know, it's one thing to spend a little bit of money on some back issues or some omnibuses, but this could be a really expensive hobby. Okay. So it does not have Commandy in it, but I loved the look and design of this page. And the black and white effects and everything. So this was dipping my toe into getting some Steve Rude. But now I want an even more expensive page, I have to say, just thinking about it afterwards. Because the day after I ordered it was when the 50% sale ended, and I thought, damn, I should have spent even more money. I can see some faint pencil lines that have been erased. No sign of whiteout or anything, obviously. That's obvious, but oh, maybe that is whiteout there. So, I don't know if that's considered a signature. It just says SR at the top. I wonder if there was an option to get this signed before it was sent out to me. It does seem like it's sent by his wife. The return address on here is from Janelle Rude. I don't know if any of you have seen the documentary about Steve Rude. I'm surprised Janelle is still with Steve Rude. Not an easy man to be married to. But a brilliant artist. So yeah, this may be the beginning, or maybe I will pull back. The stock market has been going way down. I thought I was rich by the end of 2017. But maybe I'm a little less rich now. We've taken a large amount of money out of our savings because we're going to have to do major work on the foundation of this new house of ours. We actually had to sue. Well, it didn't go to court, but we had to pursue the sellers of this to give us some money to help with the foundation because they hid problems, or we believed they hid problems. It was never proven in court whether we were right or they were right. So we spent almost a year dealing with lawyers and stuff like that, and we got some money, but it's still not enough to do the fixes on our basement. So we also withdrew a lot of money. But have no fear. Like I said, we made a lot of money this past year in the stock market. So one of the benefits of being old is you have a lot, or sometimes, if you're lucky, you have more money around. So, it says art inside. So I think I paid $3.25 for that. I don't know what other people pay for original art. And I kind of wonder when I see, $2,000 for a page of Steve Rude art, is that a reasonable amount of money? It seems very high. But I want Steve Rude art. I don't want, I don't want that. He's high on my list of the people who are still making comics whose art I would like to own. I'd love to have some of his Nexus art, but I wonder if that's all sold. The only thing, he had a few of the giant pages of his kind of failed attempt at doing Nexus as kind of a single newspaper broadsheet once a month or something like that. Those didn't look as appealing to me, at least the ones that were available for sale, and those were a lot of money. I think maybe like $2,500 without the discount. Anyway, so you saw it here, Sleepy Reader, his first original art. And this, I don't know, I probably would have been tempted anyway, but certainly all these years on YouTube, seeing some people who have some great original art stirs up the urge. I'm amazed I've resisted as long as I have. But I think, like I said, we're spending so much money. What's spending a little more on this foundation thing? So I will talk to you all later. Bye bye.